Hi, I'm Alexis.
Hi, I'm Lucas.
Welcome to another episode of
Clean Code.
Clean Coder. Your best indicator to begin a journey of. In this episode.
Woohoo!
By Uncle Bob.
Uncle Bob.
Enjoy.
Uncle Bob and the cream.
Welcome to this very special episode of Clean Coders. This is where we tell you how to make a Clean Coders video. If you want to make a video like this for yourself, or if you're just interested in how we do it, this is the video for you. Next to me here is my comely and capable assistant and daughter, Angela. She's my cameraman, my light man, my sound man, my editor, and my producer.
Yeah, don't forget makeup and hair and arranging and scheduling and editing and texting and texting? Well, whatever it is, billing, taxes. I do all that stuff. I get to sit around in the office and answer the phone while this guy is out traveling the world acting like a big shot. And behind the camera today learning the ropes is Heather. Oh, let me get my light going. Say hi, Heather.
Hi, everyone.
So in this episode, we're going to talk about the whole process of making a video. From writing the scripts and scheduling the shots,
to editing and producing. We'll show you everything we do with the cameras, the lighting, the microphones, and the action.
not to mention the costumes and the props and the special effects and all the crazy things that we do.
We'll show you how we do this.
And this. And this.
And this.
We'll describe the tools and the process of script writing and scheduling.
We'll talk about how we set up lights, the camera, the microphones, and our sets in general.
We'll also go over some of the equipment you need to get. We'll tell you where to get it and how much some of it even costs.
We'll show you all the different techniques that we use, from handling the camera to monitoring the microphones for shooting the different scenes.
I'll show you my collection of costumes and props.
And then I'll show you how we put all of the scenes into a single video and do all of the post-production.
If you haven't guessed by now, we do have an awful lot of fun shooting these videos. That was not something I expected when I first started this, but it is one heck of a hoot.
It really is a ball.
So get ready, because we're about to jump into the fascinating story of how we make Clean Coders videos. When I first thought of doing these videos 2.5 years ago, my original plan was to set up a camera, stand in front of a whiteboard, and talk for about an hour. So that's what I did. I shot episode 1 that way. Yeah, it was pretty bad. I did do a little bit of editing. I cut out the sneezes and the ums and the ahs and the phone ringing and the dogs barking and stuff like that. And I even injected a few pictures and interesting little tidbits in. It wasn't just me standing at a whiteboard talking for an hour.
No, man, that's not how I remember it at all. But then I don't remember much because I think I was asleep for most of it.
Well, yeah, that's how most people felt about it, didn't they, K9? So I figured I'd try something different, and I wrote it all up to shoot it in scenes. The problem with shooting independent scenes is that it implies a big upfront design. You've got to write a script with all the scenes in it. And That really bothers me because I'm an agile guy. I believe in lots of tiny little incremental steps. So this big upfront planning idea bothered me deeply. But what was I to do? I couldn't shoot the scenes incrementally. In order to set up the lights and the microphones and the props and everything else, and in order to know what I was going to say, I had to write a script. So I wrote a script. As scripts go, it wasn't really a big deal. I just wrote a bunch of paragraphs into a Microsoft Word document. I found that for a scene, the best length for a scene is about 30 seconds or less. And then once I had these paragraphs all written in, I went back and I manually numbered them all to give them scene numbers, and I also wrote settings on them. Then I wrote the number and setting of each scene on an index card, and then sorted them by setting. Then I went from setting to setting, shooting all the scenes in each setting. I edited it all together, and the result was better, but still not so good.
Yeah, pretty bad. Actually, it was awful.
Yeah, it was still missing something. Something I couldn't quite put my finger on. It was Christmas time, and my sister had come to visit. And this'll tell you how well she knows me. I showed her the video, and she said to me, "Bob, you should get a green screen." A green screen? Why would I need a green screen? What is a green screen? I mean, needless to say, I was skeptical. But then she said, if you had a green screen, you could be on the moon. The moon? Well, how could I say no to that? So I got myself a green screen, and the rest is history. I went through a lot of script writing tools. Mostly I just used various word processors. The problem with word processors, though, is it left me this problem of sorting index cards, and sorting index cards is a real pain. So eventually I delegated that problem to Angela.
Mr. Computer Genius over here showed me his manual index card method, and I thought to myself, not a chance. I'm not doing it that way. So I put everything he gave me into an Excel sheet, added a column for scene numbers, and sorted it by scenes. It was so much easier.
Fascinating. Using a computer to sort things. Ingenious. We tried many different Excel formats. I even started writing scripts in Excel. But Excel doesn't make a particularly good word processor. Writing scripts in Excel was more trouble than it was worth. Then it occurred to me that other people must have had this problem and solved it. So I did a search on the web for script writing tools, and I found this lovely tool, Final Draft. Final Draft is a word processor specifically made for writing screenplays. It automatically numbers your scenes for you. It keeps track of the characters and the settings and the times. It forces you into the standard format for screenplays. It's really quite nice. It also has some features for sorting the script by setting, but they're pretty rudimentary. So I realized that the output file was written in XML. And I was able to write a little program that extracted the data from the XML for just what we needed. It extracts the scene number, the setting, the characters, page number, and a bunch of other stuff. And it outputs it into a CSV file that can be imported right into Excel. And that's how we've done our scripts ever since. I write them up in Final Draft, and then my little program generates a little CSV file which we import into a spreadsheet program. While we're shooting, Angela and I both carry iPads with us. They're loaded with both the script and the script schedule. There's an app for Final Draft on the iPad, so I have the script on that, and the app for the schedule is Numbers.
The script schedule spreadsheet looks like this. There's a row for each scene, and a column for character, and a column for the set. It's pretty self-explanatory. The dialogues column tells me how many speaking segments there are, and that's a clue as to whether or not I need to set up more than one camera. I sort the script by set and character. Then that way I can set up all of the equipment, green screen, camera, lighting, whatever is needed, and we'll shoot all those characters and scenes at the same time. If we didn't do it that way, shooting would take forever.
These videos are made for programmers. They teach programming skill and coding skill, which means a large fraction of the videos is screencasts. But screencasts can be tedious at best. I mean, I don't mind showing you a shot of the screen as long as there's action on that screen, but sometimes I just need to talk. Sometimes.
Yes, okay, you're absolutely right. He does. Sometimes Bob just needs to talk, and often he needs to lecture about some point or describe some little nuance or tell a story or something. And if we just leave code on the screen that's not doing anything, then he's not helping out the lecture or story or nuance at all.
So I switch scenes and give you something else to look at while I bloviate. I like to keep my screencasts relatively short, a minute or two, and then I'll cut away to one of my characters or a shot of me talking about what happened in that screencast. Then if necessary, I'll drop right back into the screencast and continue the demonstration. Oh yeah, so for shooting and editing, I use a tool called Camtasia 2. It's pretty good at what it does. It lets you record the screen. I set the screen resolution to 1920 by 1080 and the frame rate to 30 frames per second. Camtasia does the rest. Don't underestimate the value of a good microphone. A good microphone is essential. I use this Yeti Blue USB mic. It does a great job, and Camtasia is perfectly happy to use it. You are taking notes, aren't you? He said he uses Camtasia with a resolution of 1920 by 1080 at 30 frames per second. And he said he uses the Yeti Blue USB microphone. Now, take careful notes throughout the rest of this episode. I typically don't use the laptop camera, so I tell Camtasia not to record it. When you're recording a screencast, make sure you keep your font size nice and big. People may be downloading these things into their iPads or streaming them and watching them at really low resolution, so keep the character size large. Also, edit your screencasts. Camtasia has a bunch of rudimentary tools that allow you to cut out your sneezes, your ums, your doorbells, intercom, dog barks, that kind of thing. As you get good at editing these screencasts, you'll realize that nobody ever does this perfectly the first time. You're going to stumble through it and make all kinds of problems with it, and then you'll edit it to make it look like you did it right the first time. When you're done with your screencast, export it to an MP4 and save the file with a file name that has the scene number in it. The folks who edit your video, whether it's you or someone else, will thank you for stamping your file names with the scene number. The camera that I had been using to begin with was some old digital tape camera that I had purchased 5 years earlier, and it left a lot to be desired. It wasn't nearly as high quality as I needed. So I got this Panasonic TM700. It's an HD camera. I got it on Amazon. It costs about $700. I loaded it full of RAM. It's got 32 gigabytes internal, and it's turned out to just be a great camera.
The camera we use is a Panasonic HDC TM900K. It's not a professional camera. It's a high-end home video camera. It's more than good enough for what we do. We use another camera too, the Panasonic TM700. It's an older version of the one that Heather is holding right now, but we use this one to shoot multiple scenes. It's our backup camera. You can't tell the difference in video quality though. These cameras have a pretty good electronic motion stabilizer, so if you want to keep your audience from getting motion sickness, and if you can't keep your hands steady like our cameraman here, we recommend investing in some good quality monopods and tripods. We have a couple of these Rode Video Mic shotgun microphones. They're really great and help out a lot with the sound quality. You definitely don't want to use the internal mics on your camera. As you can see, we have a lot of lights. They're set up on tripods and diffused with umbrellas. We recommend that you have at least 2 or 3. It also helps to have a little handheld light with LEDs like this one. Setting up the green screen is a process, but it's pretty easy. You just need the stands to get the green sheet across, and we use a couple of clamps to get it taut, to get out the wrinkles. And we also have a cute little steamer like this to help get out all those difficult wrinkles. And we have a spare green sheet in case we want to drape something and do something else fancy. We also invested in some green paper and these cards. We put the paper over the cards so that we can put them on the computer screens, and then we can add anything we'd like to the computer screens. Everything you've seen here, we bought on Amazon. For normal scenes, getting the lighting right isn't hard. You just need to make sure you don't have too many reflections or shadows. Getting the lighting right with the green screen is a little bit trickier. You want to make sure that the lighting is very even. No hot spots, no shadows when the actor is in front of it. When you're keying in the editing process, getting all these fluctuations in light can be very, very challenging. The camera will automatically adjust for white balance, focus, and lighting, and that's fine if you're in the handheld position, but if you're using a tripod, then you'll probably want to go into the manual mode. The white balance may or may not change, but you can usually restore it by putting a white piece of paper in front of the camera. So I learned the hard way to monitor the microphones. We've had a lot of silent videos in the past, so I discovered plugging in a set of headphones and monitoring frequently will allow me to know whether or not the batteries are dead or even that the microphone is turned on. So the volume on the camera has an automatic gain. You don't have to worry about the volume too much. Anyway, most of the volume issues get taken care of in post-production. Can you hear me? Uncle Bob's videos are so full of different characters and different scenes that we take sometimes 2 to 3 days to shoot. On the other hand, I can film one of Corey Haines' videos in about a day. He's the only character, has fewer settings, and he depends more on screencasts.
What we're about to tell you is something that we learned the hard way. Skip any of these steps at your own risk.
Once you have your camera ready, your lights are set, and your microphone is all ready to go, then you decide on the scene number. Write your scene number on a slate like this or a director's slate. We use this cute little iPhone app, which is on the iPad here, and start. Check your sound, put your slate in front of the camera, start recording, then hold your slate in front of the camera for a couple more seconds. Then make sure that your actors are on their mark and shout action.
Action. That's so corny. That's hokey.
Action.
A couple of years later.
No, actually it's not hokey or corny. It's really important. Not only does it tell me and the actors when to begin, I can see it on the editing page. It's pretty obvious. That way I know where to do my edits on the front and when you say cut at the end.
Action.
So the actors should wait about 2 seconds after action is said before they start their scene. Once the scene is complete, actors should hold their position for about 2 seconds until they hear the word cut, like this.
Cut.
So if you didn't like the way that scene worked, you can just tell everybody to go back the way that they were and reshoot it and shout out action. When you're done shooting the scene, turn off your camera and then mark it off on your schedule. And that's pretty much it. You do that over and over again for each costume and each setting until you've done the whole script.
Post-production is the most labor-intensive part of the process. The amount of time it takes to edit these videos can get really, really large. So we usually do that for our authors so that they can spend their time writing scripts instead of fiddling around with editing tools.
The editing tools that we use are Final Cut Pro 10 and Motion 5. They're pretty complicated and too complicated to describe for a short video like this, but here are the basics.
The first thing we do is download the clips from the camera onto the computer. We open up Final Cut Pro and there's all of our information, things we shot. We want to organize this information so if the camera was turned on with the slate in front of it, we will be able to rename by episode, scene, and take, and any other information that seems necessary.
Whoa, without those slates, man, you'd really be lost. I mean, like, how would you know what scene was what?
Yeah, that's right. So once we've downloaded the clips and we've renamed them all, we put them into the timeline in sequence. Then we walk through it, clip by clip, trimming off anything before the word action and the word action, and trimming off the word cut and anything after that. We leave about 1 second of silence in the front and the back of each clip.
That's when the real work begins, the detailed editing. That's far beyond the scope of this video. Suffice it to say, an hour-long video takes about 5 to 10 days of the detailed editing.
So that's it. That's the story. That's how we make Clean Coders videos. I hope you enjoyed it.
We had a lot of fun telling it.
Now look, if you want to make one of these videos, you let us know. We're ready to help you with script writing and shooting and editing and lights and sound and microphones and all that stuff.
So contact us. You know the address.
All right, you dogs, let's go. Come on, dogs. Outside again, dog. Yes, it's confusing, I know. We've done this several times. Go, go, dog. Good, all right. Again. Do it again. Do it again.
Serious?
Serious. Smile. Okay, now put your hands up in front of your face. No. Open palm outwards. There we go. Sort of like that. There we go. Nice smile. Oh, pretty. Yeah, that's nice. Oh, yes. Good. Hot. Let's go. Hot. Come on. Give me some animal. Oh. Yeah, okay.
Do it funny. Okay, be like, all right, action.
The first thing we do is we download the clips off the camera and we put it onto the computer.
You got like this snotty valley girl like,
And that's what we do to organize our data. That was like
do the whole thing like that.
No,
Yeah.
you're gonna use it.
I might.
No, because I'll edit it. I will make sure that I will disappear.